All right, today we are at Felix Romuliana. I guess I pronounced that right. Hopefully I did, or someone can correct me. This is an ancient Romans ruins site. Of course, you know that Serbia had a lot of history here, and we had a lot of wars. We had the Ottoman Empire, the Roman Empire, of course, and I am here at one of the ruins here. Now, this is just outside of a town called Gamzigrad, which is close to Zaječar, and I would highly recommend people come and check it out. It's there is a fee of 500 dinars to come and see it at this location. And if you wanted to go to see the actual museum in Zaječar, it's I believe another 200 dinars as well. But you know, it is a ancient Romans ruined site, and one of the things that I absolutely love about ancient stuff is looking at how intricate and how they do the masonry work back in the day, and how things are still standing up and like moving these big blocks, and how things are all tied together so well, and after so many years that it's still in what I would call pretty good condition. Now, this was established in 305 to 311 AD. There's a bunch of literature that you can check on here when it comes to all the history. It talks about how, by virtue of its name, Felix Romuliana is an inspiration found on the site, and ancient literacy sources that fortified Palisha complex Romuliana. And then it has a bunch of other things that you can check out here. So now as I enter the grounds here, is just astonishing to see how big this complex actually was. Now, of course, they've had to do some maintenance here and some upkeeping, but look at this behind me. Like, this used to be all part of this. And I'm going to take a little walk down to the area back here as well. I'm going to go check out back here as well. There's really not many people here. It's off the beaten path. There is a groundskeeper here that's mowing the grass, a dog running around. But, you know, once you walk in here, it's pretty nice because there's a lot of should I say, boards here that will tell you all about the history of it. Of course, history, I don't believe everything, right? Because the history is written by the victor. But it's just neat to see what Serbia has to offer here for history and what still remains here, and the things that people don't usually see. You see a lot of YouTubers that talk about the food here and the people here and the rakia here and the same old things. But you know, one thing that I find interesting is the history. And I just walked into one of the chambers here, and to me this looks like it's an old bathing area here, because if you look above, the sun is able to penetrate in here, so it probably heated up everything. A lot of old stones as well everywhere around here. And you know, you look at things such as this piece of stone here and the intricacy that and the time that it took to do that, or even this one here next to me here. It just blows my mind. And when you look at the stonework here, it's just astonishing. And one thing that I noticed just looking here is the algae here, right? And there's water actually seeping out. So it tells me there's some water possibly on the other side. But then you get into this. This is something that I absolutely love looking at. Like, doing this back in the day, it's actually embedded into this rock. It's actually smooth, not on top. So just absolutely beautiful. And then you have a bunch of other specimens. And then of course, this is just something that I absolutely love looking at. So, you know, there are some lessons here or educational portions here that you can come at certain times and get actual tours here. There's actually one in about 4 minutes. I'm not sure if we're going to attend it or not, because we don't have all the time in the world to sit here and check it out. But I'm going to head back outside and see what else they have. Oh, one thing I wanted to point out, just looking at this, had some pretty high-tech electrical back in the day. Totally kidding. Obviously, they did that after the fact, and because they do have to be, have safety conscious in mind, of course, especially light things up at night. So the LED lighting obviously isn't something that was a part of that back then. But let's go check out what else they have here and what else I can show you. All right, I'm here at the palace of the ruins here. Now, this is the peristyle hall that they obviously had some sort of fountain here. These floors are actually done in marble, which is actually just amazes me, because you see how they cut that so intricately. In this day and age, we have all this tools, all these high-tech gear that we need to cut marble with, yet like this stuff back there is done without any of that back in the day. Now they have a couple other spots as well here. This is the reception area that they had. So people coming in to see the king was able to come here, have a reception, come here into the peristyle, and then you're going into the king's chambers over in this end as well. Just looking around here, I wish these walls could talk and, just have a 5-minute conversation to know exactly what happened here, or a look back into the history of what everything looked like and how it all operated. This is just absolutely beautiful here, and of course it helps being a nice day as well. So I'm gonna go check out a little bit more and see what else I can report on. All right, now I'm in the peristyle. Now I'm gonna admit I don't even know what that word means. So if anyone can let me know what that word means in the comment section, that would be great. But again, you look at these pillars here. Yes, they may be refurbished, some of them are not. But then you look again at the stonework here. Just unreal. Like, they had the large mosaic, and then they had the small mosaic that I showed you in the other area there. And it's just beautiful. Now, wow. Let me just look into here. Now, tell me this is not beautiful. I was just talking about mosaic. Tell me that this is not something that is just amazing. This floor here. Yeah, it's, not in pristine condition, but it just shows you the amount of work. And from the board up front, it said that this was done by the top tier mosaic artists in their time back then. And it just shows you when they have to embed such small rocks, make it all flush, it's just amazing. Now I'm just walking through the rest of it, but even though that these walls are all deteriorated, it just makes you think when you look up here, like, how big was this actual structure? What wars were fought here? What were the good times? What food did they have here? Where was their water supply? Because that's another thing I'm looking around here, is like, they must have had a water supply to keep everyone hydrated and healthy, especially when they're having to strong arm the opposition, and the opposition's coming in to take over their area. It's not all good times back then, but Serbia has a lot of history. And if you ever get a chance to check out the eastern part of Serbia, I would highly recommend you check out this area. I'm gonna go and head over to some of these other further objects, like the one in the back here. They got a couple bigger ones down there as well, so on and so forth, and make out back to the car and head on to the next area of Serbia here. So let's see what else I can find. Just walking down the stairs here of this temple, And you see this in a lot of Egyptian videos and documentaries as well, is how these big stones are so perfectly cut. Now, these are not as perfect as some of the pyramids, but then you get into stuff like this, right? Now, these are a pretty big gap still. I can get my finger in there, but again, just makes you wonder, was there other things around that we don't know about these days? Because those rocks are not small. And to be fit like that, and when you take a look also, my construction I caught, the arch in this here as well, all the way down, all perfectly made. And of course I know that they use molds back in the day, especially when it comes to concrete, but making those molds, and getting them that perfect, that's some work for sure. Let's keep on puttering around here. Now, I'm standing in pretty much the center of this fortress. And this fortress is about 4.6 hectares large. And just standing here in the middle just puts everything into perspective. I'm on my way to go and look at this structure here. We got structures in the back there, structures in the back here. You got your main entrance over there, and everything you guys just see me do for a video up until this point was over here. And if you look through the walls over here, or through the forest over here, you see the walls. And absolutely immense amount of work and immense amount of history. All right, let's keep on going here, right? All right, I'm on the top of the temple now. I just want to show you something here. This is absolutely unbelievable. Look at the intricacy of this stone here. It is unbelievable. Like the lines, the depth, and this stuff is not something easy to chisel for sure. I worked with a lot of stone as a tradesman, but it's just absolutely phenomenal. So, of course, it is obviously not the temple it used to be. A lot of grass is overgrown, but you can just imagine all the ceremonies that did take place here. All right, one thing being from the trades is I've worked with a lot of various tradespeople in my lifetime. And this goes from plumbers to carpenters to bricklayers. And just looking at this brickwork here and seeing the type and quality of brickwork we have from a lot of the tradespeople of this day and age, many of them don't even know how to do simple arches that are for a fireplace. And when you look at this is probably about 12 feet tall at its peak, and it's probably about 15 feet into the wall as well. And yes, it has decayed over the time, but look at the craftsmanship that has been done in that day and age. And yet this day and age, with all the technology we have and all the ways we can learn things, that people cannot figure out and build things properly these days. And we have such a shortage of actual quality tradesmen. That's what one of my spiels I wanted to bring into just looking at this stuff, is because like this is not something that that is taught in school. This you actually have to do hands-on every day to get at this caliber of masonry. All right, and yes, we do have 3D printers these days and robots and such, but what happens when the power goes out one day? What happens when the program does not work that day you want it to work. And you need to resort, I'm not one of those doom and gloom type people, but I'm just saying, what happens when all the things that we rely on, as simple as this technology that I'm using to record this video, does not work one day? Who do we rely on when all the skills that should and are not passed down through the generations and generations? What are we going to do? You know, we have so many people that work on computers these days that they get a little sliver in their hand and they have to go home to mommy and talk to them about how it hurts, or even something as simple as a paper cut. And you know, I worked in the trades for 20 years, had calluses and got burnt and worked in some unpleasant environments. And people these days, especially the younger generation, and I'm not trying to shame them or anything like that, but we're losing the quality and caliber of men, because guaranteed they did not have gender equality back then when all this was built. This was all built by men. Men who did not need breaks, did not need scorecards on what is dangerous and what is not, or start cards like I had to fill out in the oil fields of saying, hey, you know, you have repetitive motion, you have to take micro breaks, lifting heavy things, and you are required to lift with proper technique. And as I'm walking here, you know, one of the things I had to put on my scorecards or start cards was walking. I could trip, fall, twist my ankle, and what are the solutions for that is proper foot placement. Back in the day, when you look at all this stuff, people didn't have all the safety in place. And I'm not saying that people didn't get hurt and that people didn't get sick and bad things did not happen to people. But I'm saying that as we implement all the safety stuff in this day and age to protect us from ourselves, that we are making ourselves a softer and softer society. And I can say with great proudness that I am not one that had an easy life, that I did not get into computers even though I had that opportunity. I worked with my hands, and if anything ever went down in the world, that I would be able to rely on myself, slaughter goats, pigs, clean the animals, go fishing, hunting, bow, gun, build houses, doesn't matter if it's drywall, brick, mortar, run plumbing, all that stuff that is required to just have general livable conditions. And you know, it makes you think, did people back in the day have the best healthcare? No, but they ate cleaner food. Did they have the latest and greatest in technology? No, but their technology was here. Something that we don't use these days as much, because what we have these days is smartphones and stupid people. And I would highly recommend those people that are in Serbia, check out history and just think to yourself, how did they do it back then without the great technologies that we have now? Thanks for watching. I'll see you on the next one.